Grading every week 3 box score, ladies and gentlemen. Let's go ahead and get into this. All right, we're going to grade every single box score in week 3 to see which wins were real and which ones were fugazi. All right, Dolphins 21, Bills 31. Bills lucky to escape with the win. First downs, Bills 23, Dolphins 19. Total plays 59 to 57. Total yards 360 to 276. Yards per play 6.3 for the Bills, 4.7 for the Dolphins. This game was an offensive kind of just nothing. I mean, this was nothing but checkdowns, nothing but plays at the line of scrimmage. Yards per pass, 6.8 and 4.3. Rushing, both teams ran pretty well. 5.8 for the Bills, 5.2 for the Dolphins. One turnover for the Dolphins, so the Bills won the turnover margin, and the Bills won the time of possession by 3 minutes. So actually, the Bills should have won this game. This is about right. They won every metric. They won YPP by 1.6 yards per play. They won passing. They won rushing. They won time of possession. They won the turnover battle. They won first downs. They won total yards. They won everything. So, yeah, the Bills should have won the game. 10 is fine. Might be a little bit less, but they definitely should have won the game. All right, let's go to the Saints Seahawks. Seahawks should have won the game. These stats really don't matter very much because of the blowout of the game. The Seahawks were up 21-0 with a punt block, a punt return for a touchdown. Just a lot of stuff happening that is going to make the box score look weird, especially where the Seahawks were starting their possessions. The Seahawks started every possession with great field position because of penalties or kick returns or the punt block or fourth down conversions from the Saints or whatever. The only thing that I would say is like notable from this game is the rushing. Seattle was horrible running the football. It was really shocking. They had 33 carries for 87 yards for a 2.6 yards per carry. Kenneth Walker had 16 carries for 38 yards and a 2.4 yards per carry. I understand why George Halani wasn't running the ball well. I understand, Jalen Milroe, Drew Lock, Jacardia Wright, but Kenneth Walker, who looked like he was having a hell of a game, being held to 2.4 yards a carry is really shocking. The fact that the Saints were better on average on the ground than the Seahawks is insane. You would think this would not be the case. So that's the only number in the box score that stood out to me where I was like, damn, how the hell did that happen? So it is a little bit shocking. It is a little shocking, but Seahawks absolutely deserve to win that game. We won't even go through the box score. Browns, Packers. All right, this one right here has got to be heavy in the favor of the Packers. Let's see. 13-10, big-time performance. The Browns scored 13 points in the fourth quarter. It was 10-0 in the fourth quarter. The Browns had a blocked field goal. They had an interception. They had all kind of stuff go their way. This knocked me out of Circus Survivor. I had the Green Bay Packers, so this was a horrible game to watch. First downs, Cleveland 15, 14 for Green Bay. Total plays 57 for Cleveland, 61 for Green Bay. 221 yards for Cleveland, 230 for Green Bay. Yards per play, 3.9 for Cleveland, which is actually the winner. 3.9 and 3.8, so basically the same. Rushing, Cleveland ran 5.1 yards a carry. Green Bay, 2.6 yards a carry. So no, I'm wrong. And then the turnovers, interception for both teams, so equals out. Green Bay had 9 more minutes of possession. I would say it was a 50-50 game right here. Like, really the only difference is the time of possession and being able to run the ball for Cleveland. So, yeah, I mean, this should have been a 1-point game. This should have been a 3-point game. Probably should have been 10. I mean, yeah, this is about it. I mean, a coin flip can go either way. So, if it would have ended 10-7 Green Bay, it's about right. If it would have ended 13-10 Green Bay, about right. And it ended 13-10 Cleveland. So actually about right. Cleveland has interesting box scores. I think it's all 3 games now. Their box scores are way better than their record. I know for sure the first 2 games, the box score was better. Interesting. Cleveland's defense is legit. And that's what, I mean, defense travels. And they played at home. So, all right, Colts, Titans. This is going to be a bloodbath. The Colts are just dominating everyone. Colts, 22 first downs to 21, 53 plays to 65, 365 yards to 282, 6.9 yards per play to 4.3, so a 2.6 yards per play difference. That's pretty substantial. Passing 228. Shout out to Biloxi for Indianapolis. 196 for Tennessee. Yards per pass 9.1 to 4.7. Rushing 137 to 86. Turnovers. Tennessee had a turnover, and Indy had a defensive / special teams touchdown. Tennessee did win the time of possession by 3 minutes. So, yeah, this should have been a comfortable Indy win. It was a comfortable Indy win. Indianapolis is firing all cylinders. Shane Steichen, coach of the year, who says no? Vikings, Bengals, 48-10. This is going to be another bloodbath. The Vikings completely dominated this game. The Bengals, 12 first downs to 22. 171 yards of offense to 352. 3.3 yards per play. Ay caramba, against 6.1 yards per play. Yeah, they had 53 yards rushing, 2.5 yards a carry. My condolences to everyone who drafted Chase Brown in fantasy, or Jamar Chase. Minnesota had 169 yards rushing for 5.5 yards a carry. Minnesota had 13 penalties. Undisciplined team? I don't know. Time of possession, almost even, 29:04 to 30:56. The big one, Cincinnati, 5 turnovers to Minnesota's 0, +5 in the turnover margin. And Minnesota had 2 defensive special team touchdowns. Yeah, that gets you a 38-point win. My goodness. Steelers, Patriots. All right, this one right here, a lot of turnovers. This one's going to be something else. All right, New England, 26 first downs to 17. 369 yards of offense to 203. 5.2 yards of play to 4.1, so 1.1 yards per play better for New England. New England ran the ball for 119 yards. Pittsburgh only managed 64 yards. That's 4.1 yards a carry for New England, 2.5 for Pittsburgh. But the big one, New England had 5 turnovers. Pittsburgh had 1. So New England has -4 in the turnover margin. I will say this, though. If you go -4 in the turnover margin, you should lose by a lot more than 7. So kind of a Fugazi box score. Definitely a Fugazi win for Pittsburgh. They should have won the game, but you can't count on 5 turnovers every week. So I think if I would fade Pittsburgh moving forward. Rams, Eagles. All right, Rams let one slip away. Eagles go on a 26-7 run in the second half. The Rams get a blocked field goal at the end, or the Rams allow a blocked field goal at the end that turns into a touchdown. So this is going to be all kind of Fugazi. Rams, 22 first downs to 19, 356 yards of offense to 288, 5.4 yards of play to 4.6, 196 passing to 202, 160 rushing to 86. That's 5.2 yards a carry for the Rams, 3.2 for Philly. And each had a turnover. I just talked about the defensive or the special team touchdown for Philadelphia. Time of possession was almost the exact same. Philadelphia won by a minute. This is a Fugazi box score, bottom line. I mean, the Rams had more first downs, more yards per play by almost a full yard. Ran the ball way better, 5.2 yards a carry to 3.2, 160 yards to 86 yards. Turnovers were even, but the play at the end is the difference, obviously. So this is a Fugazi box score. The Philadelphia Eagles should not be 3-0. This one is fake. Fade the Eagles moving forward. Play on the Rams moving forward. All right. We continue. We march on. Jets, Buccaneers. This is another one that was, I think, going to be very, I say Fugazi, but the Jets lose 27-29 Tampa. The comeback Kings again. They scored a field goal at the end of the game to win it. Unbelievable scenes after the Jets get a special team touchdown to go up. Baker Mayfield cools a cucumber, marches down the field, and they win to go 3-0. First time I think I read in history that a team started 3-0 with 3 last-second kicks to win it. 21-19 first downs in favor of the Jets. The Jets had 267 yards. The Bucs had 347 yards per play. Jets 4.2, Bucs 5.4. So Bucs win that by 1.2 yards per play. Yards per pass 7.5 for the Bucs. Tyrod Taylor 4.2 yards a pass. Rushing Neither team did much on the ground. 122 for the Bucs for 3.6 yards a carry. Classic Todd Bowles. He is not going to stop running even if it's not working. 99 yards rushing for the Jets with a 4.3 yards a carry. The Bucs, 14 penalties for 124 penalty yards. Jesus. 7 penalties for 81 yards for the Jets. Jets had 2 turnovers. The Bucs had 0, so the Bucs were +2 in the turnover margin. The Jets had a special teams touchdown. We just talked about it. The blocked field goal. The Bucs won the time possession by 5 minutes. So this one's close. The Jets probably should have won this game. The Buccaneers probably should have won this game. They're +2 in the turnover margin. They definitely should have won the game. Let's just put that out there. The Bucs absolutely should have won this game. They are +2 in the turnover margin. They are 1.2 yards per play higher. They had almost 100 yards more on offense. The Bucs should have won this game, but special teams touchdown, 14 penalties for 124 yards. That's what kept it close. Buccaneers win. But, man, close one against Tyrod Taylor. Raiders, Commanders. Commanders, I think, dominated this one. Marcus Mariota did his thing. Yeah, it's going to... good God, the Raiders. So 17 first downs for both. 400 yards of offense for the Commanders. 354 for the Raiders. Okay, cool. Here's a big number. The Commanders, 7.4 yards of play. The Raiders, 5.7. So huge number there. Passing, Raiders 261 to the Commanders 199. The rushing is what did it. The Commanders ran for 201 yards, 6.3 yards a carry. The Raiders had 93 yards on the ground. The Commanders also had a turnover, and they had a special teams touchdown. So the Raiders were +1 in the turnover margin, but gave up the special teams touchdown. Time of possession was relatively close. The Raiders had 31-53. The Commanders had 28-07. Should this have been a beating this bad? Probably. The YPP discrepancy, the rushing is insane. The turnover is kind of negated by the defensive special teams touchdown. So, yeah, the Commanders should have won this one. The Raiders, man, they are hurting. The offensive line, so bad. Falcons, Panthers, interesting box score here, 30-0. All right, 30-0 is the score. Falcons, 17 first downs to Carolina's 15. Atlanta has 332 yards of offense to Carolina's 224. 5 yards per play to 4.1. Yards per pass, 4.7 to 4.6. Rushing, 131 to 110. The Falcons had 5.7 yards a carry to Carolina's 3.7. Penalties, 3 and 6. The turnovers, Atlanta had 3, Carolina had 1, so Carolina's +2 in the turnover margin, and they had a defensive special teams touchdown. That was a pick 6. 31-58, time of possession to 28-02. It's crazy because this game, Carolina probably should have won this game. +2 in the turnover margin, defensive special teams touchdown, all that's fine. Everything else is close enough. Almost a yard difference on YPP, but everything else is kind of right there. But this definitely shouldn't have been a 30-0 game. That's just how bad Michael Penix was. So Carolina probably gets the win, but this was one of those games where Carolina was not good. It was just how bad Michael Penix was. If they would have just ran the ball every single play, they probably win that game. But they lose, and they go 0-2 in the division. So Atlanta's in a bad spot. You're 1-2, 0-2 in the division with losses to Tampa and Carolina. Michael Penix has to get better because they got a $40 million backup that at some point you might have to turn to him. Houston, Jacksonville. What is going on with Houston? Offensive line issues. C.J. Stroud is regressing. Is C.J. Stroud the next Trevor Lawrence? Who says no? They got to figure something out in Houston. First downs, 13-17. Jacksonville in favor of. Total plays, 66 Jacksonville, 59 Houston. 291 Jacksonville, 271 Houston. 4.4 yards of play to 4.6. Houston's the advantage there. Barely. 2 bad offenses. Rushing, not much happening. Houston ran for 87 yards. Jacksonville for 86. Going into this game, Jacksonville had the best run defense in the NFL. Run offense, excuse me. rushing offense in the NFL. Turnovers, CJ Stroud, the Texans. 3 turnovers to Jacksonville's 1. And there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Jacksonville +2 in the turnover margin. They should have won this game. Time of possession, 31-18 to 28-42. This one checks out. Houston, we have a problem. All right, let's keep going here. Broncos, Chargers. All right, close game, divisional game here. 23-20 final. How about this? First downs. I don't think I've ever seen this. 29 first downs for the Chargers, 9 for the Broncos. The Chargers had 20 more first downs. The Chargers, 80 plays to 48 plays. The Chargers, 376 yards to 265. But how about this? The Chargers, 4.7 yards a play. Broncos, 5.5. It's not crazy because of the discrepancy in the total number of plays, but it's still interesting. Passing, 270 for the Chargers, 147 for the Broncos. Rushing, 106 for the Chargers, 118 for the Broncos. Broncos ran for 5.6 yards a rush. Chargers only 3.8. Penalties, 10 for the Broncos, 3 for the Chargers. The Chargers had 2 turnovers. The Broncos had none. The Chargers had the ball for 13 more minutes. So this is a unique one because if you look at the YPP and you look at the turnovers, it's like, well, how did Denver not win this game? Denver had better yards per play. They had +2 in the turnover margin. But then you look at, they had 9 first downs to 29. Damn, they had, 23 minutes of possession to 36 minutes of possession. And Denver had the Los Angeles Chargers were 8 for 17 on third down, which is how you have 4.7 yards per play, but you have 29 first downs. And the Denver Broncos were 2 for 13 on third down. So that's the game right there. The Chargers probably deserved to win this game. It probably did deserve to be tight because of the turnovers, but that much time of possession, that many more plays, that many more first downs, difficult for Denver to win this game. It shows you the power of turnovers, though, where if Bo Nix is not that bad and they have 9 first downs, they win this game. But, it's like it all works in tandem. But it shows you, everything you're seeing here, 29-9, 80 plays to 48 plays, 36 minutes to 23 minutes, but it's a 3-point game because of those turnovers. 8 for 17 on third down for the Denver defense is disgusting. It's absolutely despicable. Really bad stuff there. It's supposed to be the best defense in the NFL, and you give up 50% on third down. Yikes. Cowboys, Bears. All right. The Caleb Williams show. Caleb Williams has maybe his best game as a pro. 19 for 28, 298, 4 touchdowns, no picks. Sporty. Dallas, first downs, 23-19. Dallas, 396 yards, 385 for the Bears. Yards per play, 5.9 for Dallas, 6.8 for the Bears. About a yard discrepancy there. Passing, yards per pass, 10.6 for the Bears. Dallas, 5.9. CeeDee Lamb also went down in this game, worth noting. He's out for 3 to 4 weeks with a high ankle sprain. Not good for my fantasy team. I have him took him third overall. Rushing, the Bears, 87 yards rushing to Dallas's 121. Dallas ran for 6.1 yards a carry to Chicago's 3.0. 4 turnovers for Dallas, 0 for the Bears. You do not win a game when you are -4 in the turnover margin. I don't care who you are. And you lose to the YPP by a yard. This should have been a Chicago Bears rout, and it was a Chicago Bears rout. So that one is real deal. Holyfield, I'll give you a free one. Take Jake Ferguson reception props while CeeDee Lamb is out. That's who Dak is going to go to. All right, Cardinals, 49ers. Interesting game here. Back and forth affair until the fourth quarter. It was 6-6 going into the fourth quarter. And then an offensive eruption. 9 points for the Cardinals, 10 for the 49ers in the fourth quarter. Offensive slugfest, some would say. First downs, 19 49ers, 16 Cardinals. Total plays, 62-64 in favor of the Cardinals. Total yards, 49ers, 355 to 260 by the Cardinals. Yards per play, 49ers, 5.7 to 4.1. The Niners had 5.7, so 1.6 yards per play better. I can already tell you what's going to happen. All that is in favor of the 49ers. So how is this a 1-point game? I guarantee you the Cardinals win the turnover battle. Let's see. Rushing, 106 for the Cardinals, 73 for the Niners. Also, James Conner goes down with an ankle injury, I believe. Season ending. So my condolences for your fantasy teams. 3.7 yards a carry for the 49ers, 3.8 for the Cardinals. And there it is, 1 turnover for the 49ers. And the Cardinals also had 34 minutes of possession. The 49ers had 25. So almost 10 minutes more time of possession and +1 in the turnover battle is how this game remained close. And there you go. So 16-15, close game, ugly game. The 49ers also lost Nick Bosa to a season-ending injury. So both teams came out of that one way worse than they went into it. Chiefs-Giants on Sunday Night Football. I think this one might be Fugazi because the Giants had multiple opportunities to win the game, multiple opportunities to cover, and did not. Russell Wilson benched for Jackson Dart. I said during the live stream of this game, I took Jackson Dart 25-1 to win Rookie of the Year because I thought they were going to turn to him. Lo and behold, they did. First downs, 22 Kansas City, 19 the Giants. Total plays, 67-61. Total yards, 306 to 281 in favor of the Chiefs. Yards per play, 4.6 to 4.6. Everything's relatively similar up until this point. Rushing, 105 to 130. The Giants ran the ball better thanks to Cam Scattaboo. Penalties, 8 and 7. Turnovers, boom, here it is. The Giants, 2 turnovers. And there is your game. The Kansas City Chiefs should have won the game because everything was even until they were +2 in the turnover battle. Should it have been 22-9? No, this probably should have been a 1-possession game. Looks closer to 22-16, in my humble opinion. And then domination. Monday Night Football. The Detroit Lions walk into Baltimore and beat up the Baltimore Ravens, 38-30. Here we go. First downs, Detroit 24, Baltimore 21. Total plays, 66-54. Total yards, 426 yards for the Lions, 318 for the Ravens. Yards per play, 6.5 for the Lions, 5.9 for the Ravens. Passing, 202 to 233. Rushing, the Lions, 224 yards rushing, 285 yards by the Ravens. 5.9 yards a rush for the Lions, 4.5 for the Ravens. No turnovers, and 33 minutes of possession to the Ravens 26 minutes. The Ravens did have a turnover, the fumble. So they were -1. So yeah, the Ravens should have lost this game. They were kind of lucky, honestly, that it was a 1-possession game. You lose yards per play. You lose total yards by over 100. You lose first downs. You're -1 in the turnover battle, and you lose time of possession by 7 minutes. So yeah, this was a bigger beating than 8 points. I'll tell you that. All right, there you go, ladies and gentlemen. There are the box scores for Week 3. Remember, the final score does not tell the whole story. Thank you for watching. I will see you in the next video.